Hello again. This video is part of a series to teach you the basic spreadsheet skills. In this video, you will learn how to use relative and absolute cell referencing. On this spreadsheet, we have the cells with a yellow background that we need to complete. We need to put calculations in these cells. So the first one, in this cell, we have plane tickets, and then we have the quantity we need, which it says their number needed by each person. And here we need to put the total number needed. So if I click in that cell, press equals, click this cell, which is the number of people, use the multiply, which is the asterisk, and then click this cell, which tells me the number of secret agents that we need. And then press enter, and we get 6. 2 times 3 is 6. However, if I go click back into this cell and go to the bottom right hand corner where we can use the autofill as detailed in the previous video, click and hold and drag down, you will notice I'm getting some errors. So we need to look into why this is happening. So let's first click back in this cell where original formula has been placed. It says equals B6 times C3 in the formula bar up here. And we know that is correct, but let's just check it. So B3, which is this cell, times or multiply this cell, which is correct. So B6 times C3 is correct. But when we click in this cell, we have B7, which is this cell here, which is correct. We want 1 gun times 3, and obviously we expect this one to be 3. But when we look at the second part of the formula, it says C4. Now C4 is this cell here. So instead of multiplying by this cell, it's now doing this cell. This is called relative cell referencing. Each time we autofill down, from the original cell would also autofill down. So as this number goes down each cell, so does it on this side, and it keeps the relative between one and the other. So here we have 2 times 3, which is 6. Then we have 1 times the open space there, which is 0. Then we have 7 times this text, and that's why we get a value error. So each time the cell goes down on this side, it is cell reference going down on this side as well. And as I've stated, this is called relative cell referencing. Always moves down by the same quantity on both sides. Now what we need to do is freeze this cell. And the way to do that, we use absolute cell, which stops this from changing. So in our formula, all we need to do is on the C3 is click before, in the formula bar before the C, and type the $sign. And then we need to do the same in front of the 3. Just click the $sign, then press enter. Now when we go back into this cell, back into the bottom right hand corner and autofill it, we'll get the right calculations. So just to check, 1 times 3 is 3, 7 times 3 is 21, 2 times 3 is 6, and 5 times 3 is 15. So if we click in any one of these cells, like if I click this one again, this time it says equals B7 multiplied by the $sign C $sign 3, which is what we want. So just to recap, in previous lessons where we showed you autofill, where each cell goes down one by one, that is called relative cell referencing. In this case, when we want to freeze a cell, it's called absolute cell referencing. So we now have to fill in this column here. So in this cell, we want to find, we now know there are 6 plane tickets needed, and they each cost £750. So in this cell, we want to go back to relative cell referencing. So if I press equals, 6 multiply by the quantity price, the tickets, press enter. Now in this case I can then drag down and they will be correct because I'm doing 6 times 750, 3 times 450, 21 times 150, so I'm using relative cell referencing. To complete this worksheet, we now have to find the total, and as I've shown in a previous video, we can just use the sum function here to add all these cells up. And there we have it. So just to recap again, if we want to multiply adjacent cells like this, or even if we want to multiply by diagonally, it doesn't matter as long as the numbers move down consecutively together on both sides. But in this case, we wanted to freeze this cell C3. So here we've used absolute cell referencing to find out these quantities, but here we've used, to find out this quantity, we have used relative cell referencing. And obviously, in this last cell, we've just used the sum function. Now in this spreadsheet, there is another tab down here called Travel. If you click that, it's the same principle. Here we're trying to use absolute cell referencing using this figure here and the quantity of miles to find the total cost. So I'll leave that for you to do. If you found this video useful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and suggest you subscribe, press the bell icon so you know when I next upload the next video.